Hi, everyone. Welcome back to another episode. Today, we're talking with Kathy about the America's SBDC Conference in Atlanta, Georgia. She recently got invited with our SBDC director, Dan Brosman, to speak about the digital marketing clinic on a national level. So, today, we're just going to kind of get into a conversation with Kathy and get a little bit more information about how it's been going in Atlanta and kind of hear about what people are thinking about the digital marketing clinic. So, welcome back, Kathy.
Thank you for having me. Podcast episode number 3, and I've been a guest twice now. It's great.
Yes.
I know. First returning. First returning. That's a big honor, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Huge.
So, how has
Um,
it been going so far in Atlanta? I know you can talk
It's
a little bit about your presentation day.
so to give some context, our digital marketing clinic receives funding from the Small Business Administration, and within the Small Business Administration, we have the Small Business Development Network. Every state has SBDC offices. They're all kind of organized a little differently by state. Some are associated very closely with university campuses. You see that in states like Georgia. Others are located in economic development centers or in chamber of commerces. So, but what all unites all of us is under the banner of the Small Business Development Centers. So this is their 45th year of having a conference where they bring SBDC center consultants and directors together at a conference, and we have over 1,500 participants. It's a very large conference. So when you go into a session, you have about anywhere from 10 to 15 to choose from. So Dan and I were participants on the very first day, and we went along the theme of the conference, which is digital transformation for clients, for centers. So the theme is digital transformation. And it was our opportunity to spend an hour and 15 minutes with participants talking about how we created the digital marketing clinic, what services we provide, what process we use to deliver our services, and what results we've had from the clinic. Also, a budget scenario. So that was kind of the layout of our presentation. And that's how in the app we had our description of the presentation. That's how it was described to others that were kind of looking at these sessions and deciding which one do I want to go to. So Dan and I had a room that we kind of looked at the room and we said, okay, well, it could seat about 65 people. And we had well over 80. So there were people, standing room only in the back. Our
That's
QR
awesome.
code that we used for our presentation and the assets, we've already had 70 scans. So that says to us that those participants were really interested in the information, and we've had amazing questions. In fact, I was concerned that we weren't going to get through the whole presentation because we had so many questions.
Wow.
Like each slide would come up and there'd be more questions. So there is a need and a desire to have what we have. So that's a really cool thing.
Yeah, definitely. And
what were some of
yes.
those questions that you got?
Sure. So we had questions on onboarding. So, how do we onboard a client? So we know how we do it at the clinic. We have an application. We have that prospective client provide us with their website, provide us with their social channels, provide us with the services that they are interested in having. And so that part was described. Also, the onboarding process of how it's so important. Like we as a team, we vet out these clients and we talk about what we see before we even talk to them, what their needs would be. And we talk amongst each other, like, when could we start this client? Who's available for this client? Is this client a good fit for the student consultant? So they were all very intrigued with this process. And in the Small Business Development Network, they call onboarding, they refer to it as onboarding, but they also use like a clinical term, which I thought was really interesting. They use triage. So I thought that was an
Okay.
interesting term to describe that process. They wanted to know specifically the process of how we deliver our services. So we know that our courseware is so valuable. It's like our communication tool. It's the way that if we need a refresher on SEO, we do use that courseware. And so they were ready, like, hey, if we want to do this, like, that's where I had to kind of put my professor hat on. How do we do this? Because,
Yeah.
you're bringing in student consultants. They want to know, how do you do it now? Someone asked 20 hours. Why? Why did you come up with that number? And how come you can't give more? Really good question. I mean, we have metrics that we need to deliver through our grant. So we can't just give somebody like hundreds of hours, even though,
Right.
these clients would take it. So that was a great question. You guys will be really intrigued with this response. I'm going to tell you what someone said, and then I want both of you to react and respond. Okay, so are you ready?
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
We had one consultant ask. First, she made a statement. Then she asked. She said, "It would be scary for me to give a client to a student." More of the question, why would I
Understandable.
do that? I
Yeah.
acknowledge
Yeah.
that.
That's
Understandable.
definitely.
So now how
Yeah.
would you respond to that?
Because we're not coming in, typically for us, you're hiring people that have taken your course, the digital marketing course. So they have a base knowledge of the understanding of digital marketing. So you're not just hiring anybody to be trusted with these businesses. We're all trained pretty well to understand, SEO and then how to implement that and how it's beneficial for a business before we're even allowed to, get our hands on a business. So I think
Mhm.
I can totally understand that perspective. Like, these are real people's businesses in our hands as students, and that is
Mhm.
scary for people. So, knowing that the people that are hired at a digital marketing clinic like ours, that they have a knowledge behind them that is able to help them help small businesses, I think can be more comforting. Just having that training is really important, and the courseware that is important too.
I think Lauren nailed it with the description part of it, but
Yeah.
for the application part, I feel like there have been times where even our clients think that way as well. Like,
Yeah.
hey, you're just an intern, you're a student still. Why should you be talking to me about something that I might already know? And they might not be saying that, but I think the way they answer and the way they respond to our emails, sometimes I feel I get that vibe from our clients. Not all
Yeah.
of them, but there's, if I'd say 1 out of 100 that we all get, there's somebody with a little bit of that mentality as well. But I think, yeah, preparing the way we do with the courseware and doing our own fine tuning with looking back on past clients and how can we improve? How can we work together as a team? If it's a team presentation, stuff like that is really how we develop those skills and move forward and succeed, I think. And that's huge for what we're doing at Oshkosh. So
Yeah.
I think that's a great question that she asked because
Mhm.
it's understandable for somebody as a small business owner. Why would you want this
Mhm.
18 to 20-year-old kid essentially
Yeah.
to take the reins and
Mhm.
uh, derive your marketing? But we're in school
Yeah.
for it, so
Right, right.
Yeah,
And
there's
start
some learning
somewhere.
going
so
on.
Yeah.
exactly. And there were 2 points that I made to that kind of that statement, and more of a question too. Um, the first is, we know in our process, when a client has been working with a small business development center consultant, that is so important for us
Mhm.
to know and to acknowledge and to reach out to that SBDC consultant right away and invite them to the kickoff call. And SBDC consultants, kind of, there's a continuum. Like, we have consultants that we know, they want to be involved in those calls. And there's other consultants that completely like say, you're the experts. Just give me the
Mhm.
update when you're finished. And both are fine to
Right.
work with, but I think that's a big part. I think the woman who made that statement, she would be along on the continuum. She probably would be on that kickoff call, and she probably would
Mhm.
be
Hmm.
in the final meeting. The other part I stressed was, and this is a missing link that I think a lot of SBDC centers desire, and I think they took away from Dan and I speaking, is you need that internal champion at a university or a technical college. So you need someone who is teaching digital marketing and teaching it like with process in mind, that when you hire a student consultant, they've already done this in the classroom, and now they get to apply it even further in experiential learning with a client. So I think that was the second piece that a lot of them came away with, was like, this internal champion needs to exist. We can't just only have a great digital marketing clinic or start one up at our SBDC center. We need that connecting point with how is it being taught in the classroom.
Yeah, no,
I think
absolutely.
it's funny that you say that, because today at school, for those of you listening, I go to lacrosse. I'm taking a class called Principles of Marketing, and the way it's set up, this end of the year project, is essentially what we do at the clinic, and we're divided into groups. It's a
Awesome.
month-long thing, and I feel like since I've been working here for however long now, she's breaking it down month
Two
by month,
years
week
in
by
May.
week.
Yep. Yeah.
I could do it. I told my group today, I'm like, hey guys, I have this job.
I got it.
We can get this done in 2 weeks if we really want to. Not even,
Yeah.
probably
Yeah.
20 hours. Probably 20 hours
Well, and
max.
that's a testament to other programs too, is that you're finding this applied learning is so important. And I'm happy to hear that you're
Yes.
having that already at the intro level, because that is key. I mean, you have to have these applied experiences in order to have an intern that is going to feel comfortable taking it
Yeah,
to the next level and
absolutely.
working with
Yeah.
clients. So yeah, so
I
those
think
are the
like
big things. Go ahead.
yeah, even like having your digital marketing class and taking that class, if I didn't have anything like that, I wouldn't know where to go in the digital marketing clinic, let alone would I have gotten hired. So having that experience and like the hands-on projects, like you said, that is so important to be able to then translate that into an internship. And even
Mm-hmm.
now, since I'm close to graduation and looking for jobs, kind of goes hand in hand, having these hands-on experiences from class and now the digital marketing clinic. Jobs are looking for that. They really want to see like what projects have you done and like what are the results from that. So not only does it benefit the businesses, but like we've talked about in the past, it benefits us. So having all of that experience comes together. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I'm thinking
There
back on
are,
that question that, oh,
yeah,
sorry to interrupt, but I'm thinking
nope,
back on that
go
question
ahead.
that you were talking about, like what we're saying about why they should trust us is maybe having that portfolio work. So if you have a client or if you have a job opportunity like Lauren has,
Yeah.
Yeah.
building that
Mm-hmm.
up. So maybe that's just an idea for the future, but
Mm-hmm.
um, I think just showing past work is huge for people that,
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to say doubt, might have some second thoughts about
Well, those
maybe a student
case,
working for
yeah,
them.
that provides, those are the elements of proof. I mean, those stories, when we get a client permission, because in SBDC, it's confidentiality, so we have to have that client permission
Mm-hmm.
to tell their story. So those case studies are so important for us, and also it's important for those
Yeah.
other SBDC consultants that are taking that first step with us. Maybe they've never referred the client to us. If they can see some of that
Mm-hmm.
proof, then I think it's more comfortable. There are two universities that are already setting up meetings with me to find
Oh,
out
really?
more
Oh,
information. One university in particular, they had a program similar to ours, and they had two people running it, and it died during COVID.
Okay.
So they are looking at rebooting. So they're coming to us with at least experience in the base. So I think they need some of the confidence building that they can do it again. The
yeah.
other program is just a person in Maine who's got a very small office. And he's wanting to know, maybe, I mean, if you think of Maine, it's very tourism driven. So
Mm-hmm.
I'll be intrigued to find out, like, where is he thinking he can take this? He was really interested in our those advocates at universities. So that was really
Hmm.
resonating with him. So another person came up to me and said, I think I need to meet you. She works in South Side of Chicago.
Okay.
So not only, I mean, we talked about University of Chicago, of course, but what about the technical colleges too? I mean,
Right.
so that internal,
Yeah.
that champion that you need, somebody, an educator that gets it and that
Mm-hmm.
can help get the valuable resource, those student consultants. So that was cool. So you want to hear some of the quotes that I heard?
Yeah.
We can pivot to AI unless you
Yes,
have
please
more questions
share.
at our presentation. I mean, Dan and I, we enjoyed presenting together, and
Yeah.
we are
Hmm.
already thinking about 2025.
That's
So,
Yeah,
exciting.
and guess what?
And
Guess what
like
we're
that's cool.
just
thinking of? Yeah.
yeah, what do you think? What are you thinking
You
about?
know what we're thinking? We are thinking Zoomers, Zoomer marketers.
Mm.
What are they? What do they need? What are they like?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it'd be more of
Very
a focus
cool.
on you. So
Yeah.
right,
Okay.
because your generation, like one in Gen Z, that it really, I went to a generational presentation, and we were assigned millennials, but we had a Gen Z in our group, and she
Okay.
said what she felt differentiates her generation is the fact that they're very DIY, and I see that with all of the student consultants. If you can't figure something out, you are figuring it out. You are,
Mm-hmm.
going to YouTube or whatever you need to get educated to figure it out. And then the other part is that you like to have the mentorship both ways, reverse mentorship
Yeah.
and then mentorship. Like you'll come to someone like me, like with other questions, like how do I work with this client, or what do you think should be the strategy, or so your generation, I mean, you like that process of figuring things out, and then you like to have those mentoring relationships. So I
Yeah.
think it would really benefit others who don't really always work alongside Gen Z marketers to understand this new talent pool that's coming in to the workforce. So that's kind of where my mind is right now. I could change my mind, but I really love the topic so much. And
Yeah.
I think it would just be great to have like video testimonials. I mean, obviously, I can't take you
Hmm.
guys out, even though I'd love to take you guys out of school for a week and fly you somewhere. I probably wouldn't be able to make that go. But I think those
Yeah.
video testimonials and scenarios, I think might be a lot of fun.
Yeah, I think that's really
Yeah.
cool. Yeah. And
Awesome.
like kind of
Okay.
just to wrap up the talking about your presentation, then we can get into quotes,
Mm-hmm.
but like what was the overall reaction from people just because you have never been on a national level with the digital marketing clinic? So
Mm-hmm.
how has that been for you?
It's been really neat. It's kind of like, well, you're the person, and I feel
Mhm.
you're the yeah. And being an educator, it's always fun to wear kind of that dual hat,
Yeah.
where the SBDC consultants are just working daily with clients. It's not like they're going. It's not like they're going into a classroom necessarily. So I mean that was great. I mean it was just really well received.
That's
Just a
awesome.
lot of questions. Like I go back to need. They see that need and desire. So if the
Yeah.
consultant can continue to get to the core of your differentiation, your purpose, your drivers and your barriers, your story. That's what consultants do really well. And then they don't have to get into the part of implementation. That's what the
Hmm.
student consultant does. I mean, that's what they can do. So there was a lot of discussion about, funding this, a lot of like maybe workforce development or, finding these almost like a pre-apprenticeship. So somebody gave me a really
Hmm.
awesome idea about this is almost like a if you could consider like a pre-internship maybe, where
Yeah.
somebody would say, this is even before another internship you might have, where
Yeah,
you could get that
definitely.
funding model where not only could we have funding, but maybe there are programs that provide a small business with money to pay for someone to do this. So like
Okay.
if you're paying an intern at your company $20, maybe you get funding where $10 an hour of that 20 is covered. So now a
Hmm.
small business can afford an intern. That's another barrier too for our small businesses. I know that they want more continued work done, but they just
Right.
can't afford like the full rate of a seasoned intern. So I thought
Yeah.
that, the almost a pre-apprenticeship, and I really
Yeah.
hadn't even thought of like using those terms, but maybe we could get like some traction that way. I thought that was a great idea from a participant.
Yeah.
So people really
That's
really
great.
engaged. Yeah.
Cool.
And we're looking at our metrics too. Like I said, that QR code, it's scanned 70 times. I mean, great. That's wonderful.
Great.
People wanted the assets. So yeah. Mm-hmm.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, cool. It all sounds great, well received, like you said. So, yeah, we'd love to hear some
Mm-hmm.
of the quotes that you have too.
Okay,
Hmm.
great. Um, so the AI, so many sessions on AI. I think there, oh gosh, I'd have to count them. It seemed like every single time slot, there were like 2 or 3 presentations on AI. And
Wow.
so, and also in the main, so every day of the 3, you had like kind of the main session where you had like some keynote speakers. So there was a gentleman who has an app that helps you with speaking. So his app will take
Okay.
out filler words and provide commentary on how you are, like the quality of your speeches, which is great. Brian
That's
Lilly in
really
our sales
cool.
program would love that
Yeah,
because
no
he's
kidding.
always
Yeah.
like talking about filler words and things like that. Yeah. So what this owner said about AI is he considers AI to be a thought partner.
Okay.
So I thought that was significant.
That is cool.
There was a person, her name is, there's a person from Texas. She owns a marketing firm, and her name is Kasha Johnson. She said she considers AI as her brainstorming partner because she
Okay.
may
I like
use
that.
AI in a lot of the brainstorming.
Hmm.
Yeah, I do too. And then she's bringing these, maybe it's 50% of the way there, ideas to her team. It's like, hey, we've got someplace, I've got a brainstorming partner. She's like, I'd be lonely trying to do this on my own and then bringing it to
Right.
my team. So she said it was like a brainstorming partner. So there was I just got I finished with a presentation today by an SBDC consultant with a lot of marketing experience from Portland, Oregon. And
Okay.
Kayla said AI moves from a blank page to an editing perspective.
Okay.
So she was the one that was
I like
talking
that.
about, she was talking about you. Yeah, me too. Like you are using AI not only for like marketing execution ideas, but you can use AI for market research. You can use AI for market strategy. You can use
Hmm.
AI for market analysis. So I thought that was really good. And then we did hear from Google. So the big announcement, you guys, this is a
Mm-hmm.
big announcement. So America's
Hmm.
SBDC has received $10 million from Google
Wow.
for
Oh,
their
wow.
AI University for small businesses. And University of Georgia has been piloting these AI workshops through this
Okay.
AIU program. And the first workshop, they had like 174 participants. Wow.
Wow.
So
Oh
Google
my.
was on the stage today. I know they were on the stage today, and they the educational designer at one of the educational designers at Google said AI keeps the human in the loop.
Mhm.
I thought that
Mm,
was pretty cool too.
that is
So
cool.
you know me in
I think the
LinkedIn, I
thing that
like these quotes.
the thing that I'm hearing with this is like, I mean, 2 out of those 4 quotes use the word partner. And I
Mhm.
think the misconception with AI, especially in marketing, is that it's going to do the work for you, but it wouldn't do as good of a job. So just
Mm-hmm.
using that as a tool to access ideas, I mean, it's a national conference. So the fact that people that are
Mm-hmm.
presenting are saying they use this is huge. And Google's even there.
Mm-hmm.
So that's awesome.
And
Right.
like going off of
Right.
that, AI is not going anywhere. So to kind of embrace it as a
Mm-hmm.
tool to help us is, yeah, that's huge.
Mm-hmm.
So I love those
Mm-hmm.
quotes. I think that's really cool. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
What was your favorite part of the
Mm-hmm.
conference?
I think the favorite part of the conference was just understanding just the wonderful service that we provide to small businesses throughout the
Mm-hmm.
country, you know, the small business consultant, I mean, they're offering these services at no cost. And
Yeah.
oftentimes, yes, it's some of the hard things that people need, like the tangibles, like a financial projection or access to capital or HR things, hiring processes, but also many of the consultants said like 75% of their job is to be a counselor, an advisor, because these small businesses, I mean, it is their livelihood. People are taking like their personal earnings and putting them into a business, and it's their passion. It's at the core of their being, and so
Mm-hmm.
they it oftentimes you feel like you're alone, and when you have an SBDC consultant, you're not alone. So that's pretty neat,
That's really
to
cool.
just hear those
Yeah.
perspectives, and yeah, and all of that unifies them. So
Yeah.
what a wonderful thing. And I do see, consultants are at all different phases of their lives.
Mm-hmm.
So like, for example, Kayla and Kasha, I mean, they're probably, you know, they can be anywhere from, maybe this is the first decade of their career, versus people, like even Tom at our SBDC office. This is something that he's doing because he loves it. And it's like kind of like, he's 67 years old and he's just like, I
Yeah.
don't want to retire. I have a lot to give. So you see all those generations represented, where Gen Z, the oldest Gen Z is 27. I mean, I
Right.
saw Gen Z here. Millennials are here. Gen X. I learned that we're probably about 30% of the workforce right now. We are here. Amazing to think we're 30% of the workforce, but yet we are the smallest of the generations. So,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's interesting too. And
Oh,
then people like Tom that, they're just like, I have a lot to give. So I like that
Yeah.
too. And you need all
I
of
love
those
that.
cool.
perspectives. Hmm.
Yeah,
And life
definitely. Well,
experiences. Yeah.
it sounded like such a great conference, and obviously it's not quite over yet, but it sounded like such a good experience, and I'm glad that you were
Hmm.
able to be invited to
Yeah.
speak there and get the word out about the digital marketing clinic, because
Right.
I just know if I didn't have an experience like this, I wouldn't be as set up for success as I am now. So I hope that other people are able to kind of start implementing this, and that other students are able to get this experience, because it
Hmm.
has been so beneficial for me. So, yeah.
And back at home, like I say, I had, this is the first time
Mhm.
I've left the classroom for a week, and I
Yeah.
had, yeah, I had 6 classes to cover, and just to know, I mean, and it was a hard week to be away because I have last
Mhm.
minute ads for my courses. And I had to say,
Yep.
well, I'm so happy that you want to take my course, but I'm not going to be there all week. So,
Right.
for the digital marketing courses, I recorded my lectures. And so they were just off to the races.
Mhm.
But for my new ad media course, and Lauren, you're in that class. I mean, I think it went really well to have some guest speakers. It got you thinking about the media industry and what people
It
do,
was great.
in media planning and buying. And that's great. I love that. So to keep that energy and
Yeah.
enthusiasm in that critical first full week was a lot. But now that I've done it,
Yeah.
I feel like I can do
Yeah.
it again because I don't think the September timeframe is going to change for the SBDC. So because there's, like I said, there's so few of me that are educators that for
Mhm.
others it doesn't matter that it's during the academic year. So
Right.
yeah. So
Yeah.
now that I'm comfortable doing it, I think I'll do it. Yeah, I'll be comfortable doing it again. So let's see. Every presentation had a survey. So if people were kind enough to fill out a survey for me and Dan, we'll get those results too. So yeah, it's all good stuff. I'm
Awesome.
so
Well, that's
glad that you
great.
all interviewed me. So
Yeah. Thank you so much.
food was good. I
Good.
had, just as an aside, very good. I had, chicken and waffles. So when in Rome, eat like
Ooh.
a southerner, right? So really good
hmm
Yes.
food. So lots of fun. And the flight down here is not
Good.
bad. So Atlanta was like an hour and 45-minute flight, from Milwaukee.
Oh,
So
that's not
yeah,
bad.
not bad at all.
Well,
I can't
good.
wait to
Well, we're
listen
excited for you to come
Awesome.
back
to the
too.
finished. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you for interviewing me about this experience. And I will see you all on Monday.
Sounds good. We'll see you soon. Thanks for
Sounds
coming
good.
on.
Okay.
See you then.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.